So yeah, so I didn't have a tremendous amount to say to kind of open this up, other than I really do appreciate you being here, and I think I want to give a little extra time over to our first group of speakers, because I think that they're going to have a lot more to say than just the 20 minutes I was allowing to them. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over. Hopefully they are ready, because I'm doing it. I'm going rogue. But Matt Cunningham, our VP of Sales at Barcode Inc., just popped on camera with me, and then
Good morning.
Be asking Dave Iffland to go ahead and turn your camera on and join us. We're going to go ahead and turn it over to you guys. I hope you don't mind that I just kind of started you a little bit early.
We appreciate it. Thank you, Jody.
Okay. Thank
Excellent.
you.
All right, I'll let you guys get started. And again, welcome to Supply Chain Geek Day.
Thank you. Thanks, Jody. Welcome, everybody. Good morning, and thanks for participating today in the first ever Supply Chain Geek Day. Very happy to be here. Like Jody said, my name is Matt Cunningham. I'm the Vice President of Sales for Barcoding. And today with me, our guest is Dave Iffland, who is the Director of IT for Abt Electronics.
Morning.
Morning, Dave. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for joining us today.
No problem.
So let me just frame for everybody a little bit about Abt Electronics. They are a Chicagoland-based company, a retailer and distributor, as well as a final mile organization as well. They've been pleasing customers since 1936, which is their tagline. So they've been in business now for 84 years. Family owned, 1,500 employees. And their primary business in retail today has been electronics, appliances, furniture, and just really a lot of different home items that can be either bought within their store or delivered through their e-commerce platform. And so with today, Dave Iffland, tell us a little bit about what's going on at Abt these days. It's been over the last 100 days, we've had quite a bit going on in the world. How's Abt, dealing with things today in the current climate? And maybe if you could just frame for everybody that's on the call today a little bit about your background and how long you've been with Abt Electronics and some of your duties and responsibilities.
Yeah. So, how you guys doing? Nice to meet everybody virtually. My name's Dave Iffland. I've been with Abt Electronics for quite some time, about 31 years. Started when I was a kid in high school, working in the warehouse. Get the
gold watch yet?
Yeah, no, not yet. Working in the warehouse and just grew with the company. As the company grew, there was a large demand and growth spurt, and obviously in the late 80s, early 90s, we changed facilities from a really small facility in Niles to Morton Grove, and then outgrew that facility in about 10 years, and then we moved into this facility in 2000, and we've added on to this facility quite a bit actually in the last 20 years, and we're slated to add on another 400,000 square foot warehouse and distribution center next to us at the former Aon property. Obviously the COVID situation was challenging for everybody, really challenging for us, being that our store is a destination place, really. We pride ourselves in the aesthetics of the store and what we have to offer. So that was a big change for us. People like to come in and look at all the appliances and TVs and electronics, and our display is really, I think, number one probably in the country. I think from all the stores I visited, there's really no other place that displays the product like we do. We take pride in that.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that, Dave. You guys are in a highly competitive industry, right? You've got some of the big box retailers today that you're you're battling it out with every day, the likes of Best Buy and Walmarts and Targets and all the e-retailers that are out there today. How are you guys, going about providing value to your customers? Like you said, you've got a destination for your one location, but at the same token, you're doing business around the Chicagoland area, out in the field, and you're doing business outside of the state. How are you investing in that, and how are you thinking about that today?
I think one of the reasons why we're so successful is not what we sell. I mean, we have a very wide variety of product that we sell, but it's the offering, the product offering, and then what we do. We have free delivery. We install all the product that we sell. We'll do from a simple washer and dryer drop off install to a full kitchen install with all appliances, dishwashers, ranges, refrigerators, water lines, gas lines. So I think, being that we've been doing it for such a long time, we've got a lot of experience and a lot of our own delivery staff that, does all the work. They're our own employees. We don't third party it out. So I think by doing that, obviously we control the quality from start to finish. Our sales staff most of our employees are long tenured. So therefore we have a really good understanding of what the customer wants.
With that, with barcoding, we're very much about, process, people, and technology. It's kind of how we go about looking at companies as we try to assist in ways to advance them. Talk a little bit about how Abt has been leveraging technology. You and I have known each other now for almost 2 decades, right? And when I first met you, the company was already involved in leveraging radio frequency technology at that point inside of your distribution center. But as you've seen things change over the years, how have you thought about building and migrating things as you continue to grow your business?
So I think one of the key factors that enables us to be as agile as we are is we have on staff, our IT staff, we have about 8 on staff developers among the team. And so we decided, in 2006, we integrated a new ERP system, and it was a good system, but it was lacking functionality. So we took the route of, making kind of a hybrid system where the user interface and the customer facing, or salesperson and user employee facing, is all web-based. And so by having on-staff developers, both for the e-commerce platform and our internal platform, it enables us to, be very agile and adapt to change really quickly. And we also utilize, third parties where necessary, where it makes sense to adjunct our software offering. So, where it would take a lot longer time to integrate software, to buy, off-the-shelf software, we customize it to our needs, which gives us exactly what we want. It's hard to find a software off the shelf sometimes, depending on the use case, that will do exactly what you want it to do.
So with emerging technologies today, are you seeing that, obviously the omni-channel speed, and especially in the last 100 days, you're seeing just a rapid amount of orders being, placed online? How are you dealing with lining up your labor to the demand that you're seeing in the market today? And I know you and I had an opportunity to talk before we got on today, and it sounds like, Abt Electronics has been fortunate, right, as an essential business, and has been able to continue to, meet the demands of your customer base.
Yeah, we saw a large surge in the online e-commerce order counts. They went from, they pretty much quadrupled in those days that we were in that lockdown. So luckily, years back, we integrated technology, some voice picking technology, and some conveyor and automation, print and apply, that allowed us to, grow with that, which enabled us to, adapt to the change in the order counts that we were getting. A lot of consumable type things, but everything under the sun people were buying and getting shipped. We noticed an increase in our LTL and appliance deliveries via that. And we also have offered curbside pickup. We did all this really quickly because, we had to adapt to the situation. And luckily we have a couple partners that really have, we invested in early on, years back, that enabled us to do that.
With that, you've been a fairly early adopter of Android. Do you want to talk a little bit about how that has made an impact to Abt Electronics to be prepared for some of the growth that you have seen?
Yeah, so we went from, years back, we were integrated with a product called Wavelink Studio Com, which we developed our own mobile apps for our warehouse processing, and that served us really well. But the company obviously changed ownership, and the product got discontinued, and everything migrated to Android. So the migration to Android, the Android platform, has been excellent. It's been a better solution than the Windows Mobile. We integrated with MDM called SODI, Mobi Control, and it allows us to control our devices within the four walls and outside on our delivery fleet. The delivery fleet uses just standard Android phones, and a custom written application for both our delivery and service fleets, which is customized to their needs. Allows them to complete the delivery, take notes, take pictures, take payment, just do all the things that make it convenient for the customer right then and there.
Yeah, you had shared with me in the past. I mean, I think that was a game changer, right, for the organization. You were able to, expand out into your field service and into your delivery. Can you expand a little bit about where you saw some real cost savings and some benefits to your customer base?
Yeah, so in terms of the use of the Android devices on the road, for example, it gives them all their daily workload, gives them all the details they need to see what they're doing, where they're going. It's got the turn-by-turn directions via GPS. They can reorganize things as needed as situations come up. And the one thing that we always strive to do is just make the customer obviously the first and foremost. And when things, obviously there's always times that things happen, and you'll get stuck at driver will have a full kitchen install and he could break a pipe under your sink, and things like that happen. So it allows them to adapt and to be able to communicate with the customer via text if the customer opted in for text messaging right from the application, or phone. And we've noticed a huge just improvement of the overall experience for the drivers and the customer via the application that we've developed over the years, and continue to change and update as things change.
Have you seen it as a benefit to the company in terms of recruiting new employees, or how do you deal with the training today for a lot of the different platforms that you're running today?
Yeah, I mean, most of the software we basically do train the trainer type training, where we'll have when we bring a new, let's say, a driver or installer in, They'll go through a pretty rigorous training in store. They'll go through, we have kind of like a model kitchen set up, and they'll go through the different types of product installations and, make sure the driver's up to snuff to understand what he's going to deal with out on the road. Because it's, every day you go into a different home or apartment or condo, there's different rules and regulations on different areas. So it's a pretty diverse responsibility for them. So we take, before we put them out on the road, we give them quite extensive training and familiarize them with the process flow. And then they're more, pretty much they take the role of a helper. They'll be mentored by a driver. And then once they're ready, we'll transfer them to be the primary driver, and then a helper is assigned. There's usually 2 guys to a truck, sometimes 3, or we'll do, adjunct stops that require 4 guys sometimes. Just depends on the situation. It's enabled us to, like I said, being having your own software developers on staff and just us understanding the business flow, it helps us be very agile and to change.
What do you see next for Abt Electronics in terms of emerging technologies? I mean, it sounds like you've made the leap to Android migration successfully. You've been able to expand outside the 4 walls. You mentioned you've been using voice picking now for a few years. What else is in store from your perspective from a technology standpoint?
So I think what we're gonna focus on with this new warehouse expansion is, that's going to be primarily utilized for the larger appliances. It will give us the ability to offer the customer faster delivery time with that product line, all the product lines that we sell, and be able to buy smarter, get, better bulk deals on product. And, we're definitely going to probably be putting in more conveyor throughout the facility, throughout the warehouse, just to make things more efficient and automated. We're always looking to different technologies to help, make things more efficient. I don't know if we're at the robotic stage yet. It's a possibility though, for moving product from point to point, because it is going to be a very large warehouse like it already is. But yeah, we're open to pretty much anything that makes sense from an efficiency and cost effectiveness. I've never, I know robotics are expensive, but the payoff obviously is there. Just have to weigh out the pros and cons and the return on investment, What
about drones? I mean, with being a final mile company, do you see that factoring in over time?
Possibly. I don't know if you would manage it.
I don't know how you get them over O'Hare Airport for where you guys are at, but be interesting to see.
Yeah, possibly with a partnership we would do it. We partner with UPS pretty extensively. It's always an option. If they start doing it, I'm sure that we'll just follow the lead. But I don't think we'll ever have our own drone fleet. But if that ever happens, maybe we'll do that through the partnership.
So Abt Electronics is 3rd generation family owned and, have evolved over 84 years. Where do you see the retail industry for Abt Electronics in terms of, we've had this world pandemic happen, right? And it's made us all kind of pause, and we've had the time to kind of, look at the overall supply chain and the way we've been doing things for such a long time. Knowing, I've been a longtime customer of Abt. It's been like you said, a destination place, and it's very much been a people business, right? You have a commitment to a lot of sales associates and people that are on the floor that are subject matter experts. They're there to help make it really easy to line bust for people. People, I think, continue to invest in your brand because of the experience and the ease of doing business. And what I've always appreciated is just the knowledge base and really the commitment to doing the right thing by the customer. So how do you see Abt dealing with some of the challenges around retail? Do you think you're going to evolve more into a distribution company, or is it going to be something hybrid? What's your thoughts around that as we move in through the next decade?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a hybrid where, as things are, we don't know what the future holds, obviously, but I think with the platforms that we're on, the availability of both our sales and customer service, both on the e-commerce side, and even if you're not, you don't want to be an e-commerce customer, you can call us, you can text us, you can video chat with us. We have a wide range of offerings for customers that, don't want to come in the store as of now. And even in the future, whatever that turns out to be, right on their mobile device, they can actually engage with a customer and actually video chat with them without, installing any application. We use a third-party chat platform that enables us to not only engage sales and customer service, but also text message inbound to our direct in dial numbers. And there's people manning those queues all the time. So, I think one of the reasons why we're successful is that you call into our company and your calls get answered very quickly, as fast as possible. And we take pride in servicing the customer. So, that's one of the reasons why I think we're definitely successful, is that we're available and we're knowledgeable and we have a lot to offer to the customer. So as that changes, into the electronic platform, like we're doing this now, it works. It's not as good as the person to person physically, but physically being in the store, but it'll suffice. It'll enable us to showcase what we have and adapt to that situation.
Well said. I think you and I are both a little old school. I think the barcode is still younger than you and I.
Yeah.
And so today is, Jody had mentioned the birthday of the barcode. So I'll make sure you get your button sent to you for helping us out here and giving us your insight. So thank you very much.
No
Little other fun fact about the first barcode being scanned. It was actually the Wrigley company, and it was a pack of spearmint gum that was scanned back in 1974. And so with you and I both being in the Chicagoland area, I think the Wrigley part of it is something that we've been waiting to have turned back on. So I'll make sure I get you a Cubs mask too sent out to you to thank you for today. Baseball, we got announced this week, is back on, so we're all excited about that. I think that's going to be great for everybody.
Yeah.
Shortened season, but it should make the rest of the summer enjoyable for everybody. So I just want to open up to any questions. If anybody has any questions for Dave or myself, I'd be happy to answer some things the next few minutes.
Yeah, hi everyone, I'm back. I actually have some questions for you, Dave, that are a little bit more on the personal side in terms of your career. So I'm just kind of curious, kind of what could you point to, maybe like one of the biggest learning lessons that you've had so far in your career, or something that you were like, gosh, that was really a challenge and I learned and grew the most from this? I know I'm putting you on the spot.
I just think, adapting to change is not an easy thing for everybody, but I think I think the most important thing you could do as I've learned over the years, is just working with people, just helping them understand why we're changing. And, we're not trying to, replace them or put them out of a job per se. We're just trying to make things more efficient. I think the more that you engage the employee, no matter what their role is, from the smallest role to, the responsibility management role, the more that you work with them and engage with them, the more successful you'll be. Because we've tried to say, we're going to do it this way. And, we get kickback from, we've done that. People don't like, you just rip and replace their process. So as we've gone through a process, we integrated a new ERP system in 2006, and that was a very painful process, because you have to analyze everybody's individual process from start to finish. And it was hard, and it was very time consuming, and getting everybody onboarded to use the new system. But as we evolved and wrote our own software to adapt to the change, it helps tremendously, and people are comfortable. So working with people is, I think, a very important aspect of any technology implementation and process change.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, because last summer, let me see if I can get this up on the screen. Come on. So last summer, we hosted a series of geek tanks. There we go. Around the country, and these were basically in-person workshops. And we used this book a lot, The Technology Fallacy, because, basically the subtitle is how people are the real key to digital transformation. And so it's nice to hear some validation that things that are from like an academic standpoint, really show through in the real world. Because one of the most interesting things I think that was in that book was, obviously, and coming from those workshops, was always involve your users early and often, but that as people interact with technology, there's certain affordances that come from that process, and there are some affordances that you didn't expect. So you implement a new piece of technology for a process, and all of a sudden, as people interact with it, especially if they're excited and you've brought them along, you discover all these other new uses. And they give the example of duct tape, because duct tape, when it was invented, no one could have imagined the myriad of uses that that duct tape has been used for at this point. So I just think that that's a really great piece of advice for everyone on the call to take home with them, is keep in mind that while we love technology, it really always comes down to the people using it.
Yeah.
Excellent. So just to close up the session here with you, Dave, I wanted to go back, just because this is another topic that's kind of near and dear to our heart, which is helping customers move from legacy platforms to Android, especially for their rugged mobile scanning. Do you have any advice, since you've kind of already been through it, for people who may not have changed yet, or who are still kind of unsure that it might be the right path for them?
I think it's the right path, because it's probably the only path. But so some of the challenges that we had, obviously, is we still have some legacy software that we have to support. So do your diligence on that. You have to understand everything that they're running. I wouldn't just assume. Again, it goes back to the worker. Work with them closely and understand their needs, first and foremost. Understand the platform life cycle. The device life cycle is important to understand how long that device is going to be around. And also the software, all the software that you're going to use on the device, make sure you test, a lot, because sometimes you run into, I have to honestly say that we ran into an issue with new devices, but, you know, we resolve them, but, you know, operating systems are changing quickly, and there's compatibility with, even though, you know, the manufacturer makes both the devices, you know, say Bluetooth devices, scanners, for example, they make them, there was an interoperability issue, and it was based on the operating system. So understand in detail, as much as it's painful, you have to understand the operating system nuances, you know, work with the vendor, work with the manufacturer closely is what I suggest, along with a partner such as yourselves. It's great to have them involved, and just, you know, engage everybody. From a mobile device management perspective, it saves us hours and hours of time being able to utilize a mobile device manager to be able to customize the, you know, the layout for the user, and to be able to standardize on, you know, what the user experience is going to be, because that, you know, saves you a lot of time in configuration and changes as things change, you know, throughout the workplace.
I mean, I hope everyone was paying attention, because you covered a lot of ground in that answer. I know that Matt sees this all every day too. So I think
Yeah,
that's good validation for folks out there.
yeah, it takes a little upfront, you know, a lot of upfront work, but it'll pay off in the end for sure. It's not an easy process by any means. You know, some will be, so, you know, it depends on the applications you're running and processes, but yeah, you just got to do your homework in the beginning, assign a team to it, you know, make sure everybody's on the same page, and you guys will be successful for sure. And it's enabled us to, you know, from a user perspective, every time we take them from, say, the terminal emulation legacy to the new Android application, they're like, oh, this is so much easier. And the learning curve is just incredibly short, you know. It takes no time. You know, if you got to train somebody on using function keys with a scanner, it's pretty, takes a long time for them to get the process. But, you know, if they're used to if anyone uses a mobile device, which almost everybody does, it's like they're using their phone, you know, they can just jump on and jump right in.
Right. Do you guys measure that at all? Have you measured that at all?
As far as usability, no, we've talked about that in the past, though. We've definitely worked with Matt on a measurement tool to see, you know, like, say, for example, scans versus inputs, barcode scans versus inputs, and typing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could probably revisit that again. There's a lot going on here, so we got to be careful what we pick and choose to do, you know.
Yeah. Are you finding, I mean, today we're all absorbing so much change, just in our personal lives and kind of across the board. Are you finding there's a little fatigue, or are people still kind of eager to learn new processes, new technologies?
Yeah, I think one of the positive things that happened as a result of this COVID-19 probably is that, you know, we slowed down a little bit and kind of gathered, you know, enabled us to kind of realize that, you know, what's important. You know, our health is obviously the most important thing, but, you know, it just allowed us to reflect on what's important and kind of just slow down, not too much, but just focus on what we need to accomplish. You know, the most important things is keeping the business running, and keeping people, you know, flowing through the processes and helping them with any issues they have. I think people are willing to change, you know, especially, you know, obviously the younger workforce. You know, we got a lot of young guys here that are willing to give us feedback and, you know, help us change with them. So, you know, it's all good.
That's awesome. That's I think probably a lot of people, even though we can't see them all on the call, are probably shaking their heads in agreement with that, you know, kind of response of like, yeah. I mean, we felt that at barcoding. You know, it has been a great time to take stock of, you know, what your value is and what's important, and, you know, taking care of employees and essential workers, and making sure that, you know, that we're all, you know, kind of doing our part, and that anything that's kind of outside of that realm can maybe go away. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's awesome. Well, I think I sort
we're
of
right there.
I sort of took over. Sorry about that. I do
Good.
want to make sure that I clarify, because I saw it through the Q&As. So the item that was scanned was indeed from the Wrigley company, but it was actually a pack of juicy fruit.
Juicy fruit, sorry. Yeah.
You know, Matt, people are paying attention, so your trick worked. People jumped right on that. So it was a pack of juicy fruit at the Marsh Supermarket in Troy, Ohio, right? So awesome. Well, before we close up, I want to put, I have one final question for you, Dave, unless Matt has something else up his sleeve.
Fire away, Jody.
It's going to be the theme question of the day. So for all of you panelists who are, you know, kind of in the wings waiting, listen up. So of course, Dave, what makes you a supply chain geek?
Just, I guess the fact that I've jumped in, you know, years ago, I jumped into the challenge of working with this type of, you know, the processes and barcoding equipment. They were like, here, we need to get this make it work, you know. So, you know, the technical background enabled me to do that. And yeah, I'm happy that I'm still doing what I'm doing. And, you know, we obviously face challenges every day. And, you know, I love what I do, you know, I really do, truly. You know, working with the same company for a long time is, it's been really good. And I got no complaints. I like what I do, and I love technology. So I guess cheesy answer, but that's
No,
what it
it's
is.
good.
No, it's great. It's a testament to the culture that's been built there at Abt Electronics. So I think the proof is in the pudding. You know, it's we wish Abt continued success. We wish you continued success.
You
We
also.
thank you for participating in today's Supply Chain Geek Day, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. And stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you. You guys too. Thanks for the opportunity, and we'll be in contact as usual.
Thank you,
Sounds great.
Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you. Take care.
Woo! Yeah.